Hey,
Bros in the
hey.
house. Three bros ready to talk about Chargers football. Let's go.
We are bolted up. We are bolted up.
Both up from the flow up.
Hey. I like it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
James
boys.
sounds like
Here
a
we are,
frog,
boys.
though. So just, let
Yeah.
I know. Shout out to Mucinex, man.
Shout out to Mucinex.
Man, this episode is sponsored by Mucinex. Get that 12-hour Mucinex, boys. It'll give you 14 hours of sleep like it did to me last night. And I still sound like a frog, but hey, I'm here, boys. I'm here.
I like it, dude.
Hey,
that's good.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you put. Oh, there we go. That was a good one, dude. I like that.
Man. But we're here, man. And hey, this is a busy week, man. This is a busy week all around.
Yeah.
And
It's been a busy month.
Busy.
Well, I will say this though too. Like, I know you got a slide you're gonna throw up here, right, James? Oh, here we go. Here's the future of the Chargers. God, Chargers football's looking good, folks. I mean, I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
Kermit Mahomes. What's up, Matthew?
I didn't see nothing. It was like a blank screen for a minute. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. You gotta love that. But pretty soon. Hey, right now we don't got any more football talking about here pretty soon. So it's gonna be kind of the dead part of the schedule of we got 5 weeks of just boring information for the most part. So we'll try and put some stuff together for you. We'll see what happens.
5 weeks of us making up some stuff, know, philosophizing and prophesizing.
Yeah. Hey, we will have a video that we'll be putting up about a prophesying of the Chargers this year that Kyle and I were all about. So we'll throw that video up this week a little bit too. And it's pretty good information. We got some inside information here, guys. We got a piece of the NFL script happen right in front of us.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah. Where's my X-Files? Where's my conspiracy theory thing?
That's right. There you go. I like that. X-Files. What's up? Nice,
baby. Let's go.
Well, guys, we got a lot to talk about. So, guys, let's get into it.
Let's go.
I'm Deion Henley. You watching the Boat Bros podcast? Let's do it!
Hell yeah. Still love that.
Yeah. I'm gonna say rest
gonna blow it up this
Costa
next
Mesa,
year,
dude. Rest in peace to Costa Mesa. No more of that anymore, dude.
That's true. That's it. Done deal.
Done data.
Yep.
And
bye Costa Mesa. Hello El Segundo. Let's go.
And we are going to be talking about that, Matthew, quite a bit. The Herbert information. There's a lot to say on that for sure. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How to pick up hot chick segment. I like that. Actually, you know what I will say is we do need to. James and I need to challenge Jim Harbaugh and also Joe Ortiz to some pickleball, dude.
Yeah,
so
and
you challenge doubles.
Darius Davis wants to be able to play a little pickleball too. We'll teach him a couple things, man. A couple things.
Right.
That's right.
Hey,
we gotta make that happen.
You know what they say? Slow feet don't eat. You know what's up?
Slow feet don't eat, baby.
Darius Davis.
I was like,
man, praise, by the way, the signing, which we'll chat about a little bit later on. I mean, he got some fast feet, dude. That video that I watched this morning, that guy's got some fast feet, dude. But we'll chat about him here in a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, Ken's up in the house. What's up, Bolt man? How you doing, my man?
Let's go. What's up, Ken?
All right, so I'll hit the button here, James. All right, so
dude,
yeah,
I love this. This is the best. So what was cool too is a lot of the interviews that happened all week were like pretty much it was like 100% attendance for OTAs. Like, I mean, I heard the whole thing about Gus Edwards. I mean, he was kind of off and on basically with us and everything, but it was 100% attendance essentially.
Well, he was injured. He's injured.
He was injured of some sort. Yeah, and I don't know the whole situation was happening there, but
he's injured.
But so funny to be able to see the certificate of achievement. it sounds so like, hey, you just graduated preschool, kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Like it's
Yeah,
so
it's kind of childish for sure, Yeah, but and they even just like what kind of calligraphied his name in there a little bit, I mean, it's cursive, but it looks very much like like when someone's like trying to for the first time write cursive too. It's like
oh, I love it.
But it's awesome. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it was essentially 100% attendance. The problem was, again, we had a few people injured. So one thing I will say, and I did this in the video, that with Colson and all these injuries that were happening, Harbaugh's not going to talk about injuries. And what he said was, it's the NLPA and HIPAA violations. You can't talk about people's injuries, right? Mm-hmm. So I think moving forward, they're just not going to say much unless it's a really serious injury, right? Okay, ACL, whatever, something like that, right?
I think though he doesn't need to talk about it right now because it doesn't affect gameplay or anything in the future unless someone like breaks a leg and they're going to be out for the season already or something like that, but I mean, and there's no team established just yet. So nothing needs to be said about the injuries because it doesn't affect anything at this point. Yep. So,
right.
Yeah. And in season, that's where you could probably talk about it because this is official gameplay that you're gonna say, hey, he's got what? Whoa, we hope we don't go with the whole Brandon Staley soft tissue issue type situation all the time. Dang near every injury, but this is off season.
Exactly. Yeah. But again, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think when preseason starts, when we start getting closer to like actual camp, that's when it'll start mattering more. So for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, good to see you guys for sure. And throw your questions out, guys. If you have some thoughts, again, we're going to go through some slides, but at the end of the day, throw your thoughts out. We'll try and pick them up as we go through the conversation.
No doubt. Yeah. But you got to love this. You got to love this. If you don't like expectations, you don't like to compete, man. And Jim Harbaugh is a guy that, man, he had so many interviews this week. Like, it was awesome to see, and they're always 30 minutes plus. And the guy is just a straight up motivator. I mean, the way that this guy just gets his team going, I mean, he's just a guy that wants to win, and he's going to find any which way to win. And I mean, we're going to chat a little bit about some things about Justin Herbert and kind of what the whole team kind of seems, or league tends to be a little down on him because he's not winning games and all these nonsense. But dude, you're going to get the best out of the players, every single player on this team. And this guy is going to be an absolute just game changer for this organization in general. And I mean,
he's changing the culture.
Runs every day, dude. He hits dingers all day.
Dingers. That's what I do when I play softball, bro. I broke that bat, bro. See that bat right back there?
Get out of here, dude.
That was Excalibur, bro. I cracked it, dude. It's cracked.
How many dingers, bro? How many dingers did you get with that? Yeah. 4,000,
bro. 4,000.
You know what you do with baseball? You pull hammies, bro. You pull hammies, bro.
I don't pull no hammies. What you talking about?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you got hammies for your clammies. That's what you got right there.
Hammies for my clammies, dude. Granddad has a question here. What's the Chargers news article that came out last week really stood out to you that should be discussed today? I think a lot of conversations around Herbert. We're going to talk about that, at least for me. Just kind of going back to some of the statistics on Herbert. That's really what stood out to me. There's just been a lot of information around him not having a supporting cast, right? And then obviously saying, he's not clutch. I'm like, well, football's a team sport, and you got to have a team, to be successful.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much news about the Chargers, so much hype going on around the Chargers, but I do feel like there's a little level of like we're not being like hyped up as this great paper team all around.
That's perfect, dude. It's perfect.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Towards labia. What's the labia?
I think it's exciting for what's happening right now with the Chargers all around.
That's a vajayjay. That's what it is.
It's a vajayjay. dude. But you were saying that he hung around.
James being serious over here. We're just sitting there laughing about.
I know over here, dude.
I know. It's nonsense. Well, so what you were saying though about Brandon Staley though, that after he was fired, he still hung around in his office for like a month. He didn't even like leave. You're like, what the hell's that all about? Like they're gonna change his mind, dude. So he looked there.
Apparently that's a rumor. But at the same side, maybe he's like, hey man, you still paid me for a whole year of football, so like I guess I still kind of have a job, kind of thing.
Right.
So I don't know, but it's funny because Kyle was talking a little bit about how millennials have been showing up to jobs that they haven't got hired on, but acting like they're getting hired on the job, and then they get thrown on payroll. They never, and I don't even understand how that's even possible for a company to be like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, we didn't remember hiring you, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, no, the idea is that like if you go to a company that has like, I don't know, 100,000 plus employees or whatever, like it's like a big old thing. Like they would just say like the communication breakdown is going to be real there. We're like, this manager didn't want to look bad against this manager or this, and so they're just like, they'll just find somebody that's maybe not even in the specific office, and they'll just say, oh yeah, I interviewed with this guy and like, we got hired. And so like, I'm here to report in for my first day or something like that, and they just start working. And like, it's sometimes it works, you just show up and then, drop your pants and, put it on the table. And then, you might,
is that how you get a job? Well, I'm interviewing wrong, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I got on my
do that over a Zoom interview.
Chaps. Okay, that's cool.
Try that on a Zoom interview. That'll be interesting,
Hey,
yeah, I know, right?
You know what?
Just OnlyFans? What's going on here?
Yeah, what's happening here? Who
wears pants at a Zoom interview? I may or may not be wearing pants right now. You never know.
There you go. Hey-o.
Hey-o.
But I will say about if the Brandon Staley rumor is true, I've heard stories of people that have got fired from jobs and still show up after they get fired from the job to the job. So it's like, I've seen that before, and I've heard about that, which I don't still understand why people do that after they get let go. That doesn't make any sense. I guess they don't know what to do with their life after that point. They're so wrecked, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's strange.
But this slide's pretty solid. Like these are some people listed by Jim Harbaugh, team leaders so far. Actually, one person. Oh yeah. Scott Matlock. Yeah. And by the way, dude,
Gold taker, baby.
I think the one other guy that would be on there, I don't see Deion Henley. I think he talked about Deion Henley too, didn't he? Dude, Deion's got some amazing footwork too, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm going to say this, guys, and this is just my take, and I want to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think down in the comments down below too? That I really think there's going to be a lot of rotation of players. So good example here, Scott Hyde talked about this about Joey. They're going to rotate players in and out, right? You're going to have edge rusher, different packages, and Joey's not going to be out there 90% of the time. He'll be out there 60% of the time, So I think they're going to rotate players a lot. So,
even to say last year when Joey was on the field, I feel like they did kind of use him on like third and long type situations.
Correct. Yeah.
I think they were trying to find a way to basically keep him healthy.
Yes.
Bottom line. And when they did have Thule, Mack, and Bosa, I mean, we're going to keep harping on that stat. I mean, we had a 25% sack rate with that, which is phenomenal. Now we got Bud Dupree on top of that too. You have 4 dogs at the edge. Like, this is going to be real interesting. So it's interesting. I sent a video to the bros. It was like highlights of Jesse Minter's defense with Michigan last year. One thing that I kept seeing with that team is that the D line and the linebackers become kind of the bigger blitzers. Obviously, that's pretty standard in the NFL. But one thing I really did notice, though, is that there was a guy on Michigan, Mason Graham was his name, and he was a freshman. The guy reminded me almost exactly like Morgan Fox. And I think Morgan Fox gets lost in the shuffle sometimes about what we have for these edge players. But Mason Graham kind of reminds me exactly what Morgan Fox is. So I kind of expect a really big year out of Morgan Fox if he's going to take that type of position. I mean, you got to understand the amount of pressure that we could pull off the edge now and rotate in these players. People are going to eat on this D line. And
heck yeah.
It's going to be really, really fun. And I mean, these players down here are all guys that, I mean, I do wonder if we're even going to really have a lot of captains or even name captains on this team. I personally, my opinion, I feel like Jim Harbaugh is not going to name captains because I think he wants it just to be a team game. I heard this quote this morning where it talked about, we're not trying to bring you to Pro Bowls. We're trying to get you championships. And that takes a team to get to championships. And I think if you want a championship mentality, I think you don't need to isolate a player as like him as a captain or whatnot. Let's just be a team. Let's stop being this guy is better than everybody else kind of situation. Let's just be a team and win championships.
Well, and they're also adding a lot of depth too, right? I mean, these signings, we're going to talk more about the signings. By the way, I did add some rookies that have stood out in OTAs as well too at the bottom.
Cool.
So
great.
So I'd added a few more that I want to talk about specifically. I forgot to add the slides a little earlier. So we got a whole presentation for you guys. I mean, it's exciting.
A lot.
On the fly, baby. On the fly. That's how we do. That's how we do.
Hey, you actually came prepared for once? Oh, okay. But I was gonna say this though too. Jay, I mean, I really disagree. I guarantee they're gonna call some champions and stuff, or not champions. Yes, they're gonna call. They're not gonna call them they're not gonna call them captains. They're gonna call them champions. You know, like you
I like that.
You will be
like
I will be your champion, Tywin Lannister. You know, all that stuff. You know,
Tywin
Lannister. But I mean, there has to be captains on the team because they help, situate and set up things and communicate effectively. You know, to lead on the field and stuff like that. You know, so I think it will happen for sure. You know,
and Harbaugh's already got the infatuation with Justin Herbert. He's already got the infatuation with Derwin James. I mean, it was the same thing with Brandon Staley, infatuation with certain players. I do think that there's a level of like, maybe he'll just rename it from captains to champions or something like that. And then maybe that's a great way to look at it as too.
Well, and again, everyone it's a team sport, guys, right? And we're going to talk more about Justin Herbert. I think why he has had a little less success than some of the other players, but the team has to play as a team. And the fact that they're 100% and they're all working hard, and Harbaugh even talked about this too. Sometimes they would end practice early, and he just wants to see what people are doing.
Right.
And they were still out there practicing. They were still doing other things, and they didn't stop. And just go, I'm done by, no, they're there to get better. And so, that's big. And I think also what happens these next few weeks is going to be huge, right? Because if you're taking it seriously, you should still be preparing. Throwing balls. I know Herbert talked about that. No, we're going to go find a spot. We're going to throw more balls. We're going to get better. And it ain't a Herbert problem. We'll leave it at that, right? I think there's a lot more that needs to be discussed on that. But the good thing is this guy's adding a lot more culture, right? And the team has a better mindset moving into this year, which is huge.
And this is a quote that I believe Kyle even said before. I keep pointing the opposite directions here, but this is something I believe Kyle said before, talking about how the Chargers are Southern California. Like, they've been nowhere else but San Diego and LA. That's it. We've been nowhere else. And there's hopefully this bridging of gap here with Jim Harbaugh to really just put together San Diego, LA a little bit too. I understand as a Padres fan, people sit there and say, oh, beat LA, beat LA, beat LA. Like that's been beaten into their heads constantly. But look, guys, like this is Southern California's team, and it's exciting to see what Jim Harbaugh has done so far, and him going to Camp Pendleton. And having I heard from 2,000 to 5,000 fans showed up there, something in that zone, and telling the fans to get it from the stands and get to the field,
dude,
and come down to be close to everybody is awesome. Like,
you got to wonder if he's going to do that at the new facility for camp, dude. That would be so great. I'm sure. Actually, there's a lot more than 2,000 people there.
There'll be a lot more people there.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot more people than that. But
I mean, there was a lot of people there last year. So,
but it's incredible to see what Jim Harbaugh's done coming back to San Diego. As somebody, I can't remember what news report they were talking about. They said, well, the only reason why the Spanos came to Camp Pendleton is because he had soldiers and tanks and guns to protect him from all the angry fans and stuff. And it's like,
I read that. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a funny quote, but bottom line, you got to love what Jim Harbaugh is doing.
Yep.
I mean, just for the culture, trying to bring together San Diego, not just abandoning San Diego and going after San Diego fans. And I love it. I love it, man. And he is an absolute stud as a coach so far. Culture creator, in my opinion. True culture creator.
And I'll say one more thing before we move on from Harbaugh is that Brandon Staley had his boys. Everyone else was navel lint, right? They were just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unimportant
bodies to fill a space.
Yeah. It was weird. And like, as a captain, it's like if you're your parent, you're like your mom and your mom and dad, you may have favorites, but you can't walk around saying, "Oh, you're my favorite. Everyone else sucks." Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's there's some truth to that, right? Like you can't walk around praising one and then everyone else just sucks, right? That just demotivates players, right? And so, anyways, we can talk more about that, but I think that's the difference. He's coaching everybody. I mean, Matt Money Smith said one really interesting point. He was talking to the 4th string quarterback, the guy that went to Augustina. He's as tall as Justin Herbert. He was coaching him up for like 2 minutes in the first OTAs, like how to hand off the ball, how to receive the ball from, the center and all this other stuff. Has probably not a snowball's chance in hell of even making the practice squad, but he's still coaching him. He's still coaching him. So he's giving attention to everybody, which I think says a lot about a coach, right? So anyways.
Yep. And amen to this, Scott. Pendleton tradition ought to continue and should have never left, in my opinion. That is a tradition that should stay there forever.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Support the troops, come out there, and keep that vibe alive, like that video you were talking about there too. Like they were joking about how Spanos, just basically just dipped his toes back into San Diego, he that was a very northern part of the San Diego County line, so it's it's not like they're not going down to Mission Valley where the Chargers used to play. That's going into the thick of it, but they just kind of went on the outskirts, the front lines essentially, just to kind of see what the vibe's like, whatever. And I think it was a very positive response, and I think this is huge to realize that Spanos in Spanos's head is like, wait a minute, we still got a ton of fans in San Diego.
Yep.
We still need to go out there and support them and be part of their lives as well, because we are still part of theirs. I don't know. So
no doubt.
I agree. 100%
agree. And Miguel, yes, I'm the best Bolt Bro, most favorite Bolt Bro here. So no. Next question.
Navy Cross got award. I love that. Thank you. I like that.
I thought this was an interesting little stat that got thrown out there. Now, once again, 4th down, big ball Staley was fun to watch, right? In my opinion, I think he should have never got away from that. I mean, if you look at what the Lions did in the 4th down, they stayed with that whole philosophy of going for it on 4th down. And guess what? They got to an NFC Championship game for doing what they were doing. Big ball Staley became small ball Staley, essentially.
Little ball Staley.
Little ball Staley. Strike down real quick.
Tic tac ball Staley.
Yeah, he was stuck in an ice bath, dude. And he just stopped doing it essentially. But when we did have a chance of going for it on 4th down, we were the highest percentage in the NFL.
It's pretty amazing.
Getting touchdowns on 4th down.
That's pretty amazing, dude. That's pretty amazing.
Which is wild to see. But I do kind of feel like sometimes the 4th down idea is a little desperation too.
Staley got neutered.
Yeah. But I do feel like going for it on 4th down is desperation. Basically, you're trying to say, hey, keep the ball in your best player's hands, which I get it. This is a very clutch stat right here. If a majority of these touchdowns came on Herbert's arm. But I do feel like there's a level of desperation to it too. We're desperate to try to find a way to get more wins or, keep the ball in your hand, score more points because you had to at some point. So I thought it was an interesting stat, but no other team got close to us by 9% difference. That's insane.
And Grandizer, we're going to talk more about this Herbert thing as well too. There's a lot to say about that. Actually, I watched the whole video on it breaking down. Just the guy, he's not even a Charger fan, but he broke down all the quarterbacks in the league right now and the supporting cast around them too. So pretty interesting. Yeah, and Scott, we're going to talk about Tony Jefferson. I watched my video I did yesterday as well too. I think just really quickly, Tony Jefferson's going to really help Derwin James be freed up, and I think Derwin James will be a little more mobile in different packages. I think you're going to see him edge rushing a little more. I think there's going to be some interesting formations that we throw at people. It'll be pretty interesting. So,
and you got to go back to the Ravens defense, and you've got to look at what they do with their safeties there. That's literally what they're going to do.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
I mean, you watch what basically Hamilton. Yeah. Watch what he did in the playoffs. That's literally what they're going to do with Derwin James. It's going to be awesome to watch.
You got a big bottle of Grandpa's coffee.
We don't mess around, baby. We don't mess around,
dude. That's water, dude. That's water.
This is
Andrew's got that Butterfinger shake.
It even has a thing in there saying like, you got to drink from this point at 9, and then it keeps telling you.
Okay, there you go.
Look at that, dude. Keeping you on schedule, bro. Keeping you on schedule, dude. Look at that.
Half gallon, baby. Let's go.
No, but there is going to be a lot to be said about all that too moving forward. So yeah, we're gonna. James got another slide here. We're going to talk more about. As a tight end, coach said that, dude. The thing is, so I will say this about Herbert: he did pass the conditioning test with flying colors, right? And I think even that guy that we hired, what was his name? Morris Brash, the edge rusher that was just randomly signed for 3 years.
Yeah.
What did they see in him in OTAs? They're like, no, we got to sign this guy. That kind of shocked me.
Now.
Yeah, but you have to ask yourself this question, right? Maybe he just hit the conditioning test like crazy and was like, all right, this guy's good. And we can move him around, right? Maybe linebacker, maybe edge rusher, maybe also interior defensive lineman. Maybe he just comes in for like pressure packages, 3rd and longs. Yep. Maybe he's just a really good special teams player and you can add him in edge too, right? So, I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot to be said about that. But by the way, that guy did lead the league, I think, in college football for tackles for loss. I think he was like the 3rd highest tackles for loss. Dude, he's got great stats. Kind of shocking he was an undrafted free agent, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up falling on this team. It seems like he's playing a lot with and practicing with the middle linebackers right now.
Yeah, I could see that.
Which I think he's going to fit in that zone because, I mean, once again, his weight has been all over the place based upon the video that I went over. It was 256 to 245, and 245 would probably fit, or 240, 245 would probably fit for where he would be a middle linebacker guy. So,
dude, and bro, he's a dog, dude. That guy knows how to tackle. He puts people on the ground, dude.
High motor, great tackler. That's what you want. And
you watch this highlight reel, you're just like, okay. Of course, it's a highlight reel, right? You always see the best.
Where's the low lights is what I like seeing.
Where's the low lights?
Give me the low lights.
I ain't got no low lights when I play pickleball or softball, bro. I ain't got no low lights. All highlights, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Plays.
Boy.
What's up, boy? So we get a new facility, boys. Actually, when is it supposed to? It's supposed to start like it's this month, right?
When they actually have their camp, that's when they're coming in. It's like probably like that start of the last week of July is when they're gonna probably start reporting in and all that stuff. So,
I've seen some fans already being at the new facility, at least being outside of it. For the most part, it looks pretty much done. And I'm assuming they're going to start moving things over there, man. Start shifting things over there pretty soon. And so it's so long, Costa Mesa, and hello, El Segundo here shortly. So
that's right.
I think we're kind of hoping that we get invited to go get a tour, right? So,
man, I would love to.
Man, I'm definitely hopping on a plane.
I hope, and I really hope that the players left an upper decker in the toilets, because I know the Raiders are going to be showing up to the Costa Mesa facility and practicing down there. I hope they left a couple dead rats in Tom Telesco's office and stuff like that. Things like that.
So they're taking over that facility. Then is that what's happening?
I'm pretty sure that got passed. I think it was pretty much unanimous that they wanted to let the Raiders come there and practice and stuff. So,
know what? That's easy too, though. It's easy because there's so many teams that can practice there, right? The Cowboys are there.
Right.
There's 5 teams are now, and then when the Raiders are there, that'll be 6 teams in that area. You guys can easily scrimmage, which is great.
It's oddly like they're creating like a cactus league. I mean, Kyle and I were chatting about that. Yep. I mean, essentially they're just creating a cactus league out there. Yep. Just like what they do with Arizona during spring training for baseball. Like, I mean, I think it would be really cool if they end up just doing that. Like, what if they end up just making Southern California a practice hub for like multiple teams? I mean, we probably have all the facilities to be able to bring in, I don't know how many, 12 teams, 15 teams possibly. I don't know. Like, how cool would that be?
I do love me some Russian girls, Grandizer. I do love me some Russian girls. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I think I like them a little bit more than you, but that's another story.
Exactly. At this point, for sure.
Good point. Good. At this point, I've dated Russian girls in the past. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
There you go. So we'll keep you posted if we get invited to the facility. You know, there has been some rumors they want some podcasters out there, so we'll see.
Right. 100%. 100%.
No doubt. But hey, guys, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Bolt brings. I mean, once again, the facility's crazy. Got that pool outside. We could go in there and celebrate as fans. We could take a nice dip in the pool.
Got to take a skinny dip in, you know, like that. You know?
Yeah. Dude, I don't know, skinny.
Bolt bros bolting up, dude, for real.
That's right. Bolt up from the floor. You know what I'm saying?
It's got like a VIP section in there too. It's got like it's just a really cool looking facility. And El Segundo's got some really good food too. You know, Japonica, dude. Go get some of that bomb Tantan ramen, dude. You know,
get
great
that
stuff,
dude.
Food great stuff. Holler at the Bolt Bros food choices. We got you.
Right. Yeah, we got you covered.
But I'm excited about the Bolt and seeing that. And once again, the whole thing when we started with this facility, I feel like it was just a perfect way to be able to go into a whole new era with the Chargers. And they did it right by getting the right guy to open up this facility, kind of start a whole new fresh, a whole restart, essentially they must be feeling like Febreze because they're feeling so fresh right now, dude. And
so fresh and
feeling
so clean.
Good. So fresh and so clean with Jim Harbaugh in the house now. So, I mean, it's exciting, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, we hope it happens. There's been some discussions, so we'll see. Actually, we should probably reach out to Jamal. Maybe shoot him a message, ask him what the situation is on that.
Yeah, maybe just follow up and like that, and see what the plan is. You know. So
yeah. So all right, cool.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool, man. So I'm looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and just chat a little bit about. You know, I've been looking for the Greg Roman interview, and I've been kind of happy to be able to hear him because, you know, it's funny when he initially got hired in, I was like, I don't know, man, heavy run, heavy guy. You know, not the best in essentially the pass game kind of situation. But I mean, he really hasn't had a whole heck of a lot of quarterbacks that he's really had other than like an Andrew Luck back to like Stanford days. That's going to be a kind of a Justin Herbert type dude. And, you know, one thing that he chatted about, he's like, hey, man, we've implemented the offense multiple times. It's been layers. And one thing I think you talked about, and even multiple coaches even said the same thing. It's like putting on layers of paint, multiple layers of paint. We're just constantly putting that paint on the car or the engine or whatever you want to say, team or whatnot.
You put paint on an engine?
Yeah, you can put paint on the engine, baby. Color that stuff I'm like,
quick, dude. Oh man, you know that adds about that adds about 2 horsepower per layer of paint. You know,
that's right, baby. That's right, baby.
That's cool. All right, cool. I'm just saying,
it adds even more. It's like jet fuel if you add it into the oil, though, too. Just so you know, don't do it.
Right.
I swear, don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But it's great to be able to see that every team is saying that same thing, or at least coach is saying that. Like Jesse Minters even said that about the multiple layers of paint. He wants to make sure these guys know what the heck they're doing.
Yeah.
But the big part of it is, and we've been really, and we're going to go chat a little bit more about the Justin Herbert side of things. Like, what is he going to bring to this team that really could balance out this entire team? And that's really what it boiled down to, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, even with Mark Trestman added to this team too, and adding him a guy that's got a very good passing game side of things. And we've had multiple coaches that are basically like Marcus Brady added to this team, adding more of a layer to this whole passing game type situation.
Yeah.
they've done a great job of just building a staff to make sure there's going to be a great pass game involved with complementing his run game here. And I think that's a great part that's added to this team.
He did talk also about how, hey, Carl here as well too. He did talk about how you're going to show the illusion of running and then pass out of that as well too. So keep the defense in conflict, right? So don't get me wrong. Like, you're like, oh, it's a running formation. Oh, but they're throwing out of it, right? I think that's where Mark Trestman comes into play. I think that's where, having a different, variation comes into play. So it keeps them guessing, right? I think that's really what was discussed with our last offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, but it never really, everyone knew they were going to throw the ball because our running game was abysmal, right? Nobody respected our running game. So it's going to be pretty interesting in that regard.
Well, that's why we got a thunder and lightning situation now.
That's right.
And that's with our running backs. So you got J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. And, and it's in Kamani Vidal is another guy that could be a really big piece. Now, Isaiah Spiller, we'll see where he lands on this whole situation. But we have guys that could be very good, legitimate runners for once now. Like, I'm not saying Austin Eckler wasn't a good running back, but I've never really saw him as an RB1. I've always looked at him as more as almost like a wide receiver 3, in my opinion. And a guy that just every now and then gets the ability to run the ball. Like, now you could also say an offensive line could create a running back, true. But at the same side, he really wasn't an RB1 in my opinion. So, but
we'll talk more about the wide receivers as well too in a bit, and some of the rookie standouts. So we're going to talk more about that also.
So this is what I wanted to point out more than anything here, guys, and this is going back to Up and Adams, Kay Adams, and the big thing that I love about the show. Kay does a very, very good job of always talking about the Chargers. And oh man, Carl, we did miss some ribs, brother.
I always like talking about Kay Adams, dude. She easy on the eyes, dude. I'll tell you what. She bolted up from the flow up. You know what I mean? For real.
Well, she loves the Chargers. She loves the Chargers.
I love her. Hey yo.
But this is the whole thing here. It's not a Justin Herbert problem. He's doing what he needs to do when he needs to throw the ball. Bottom line. Second in league, 277 yards per game. I expect these stats to be a little bit lower, in my opinion. Quite a bit lower in some levels. Pass attempts game, we're not doing 39 passes in a game. Like, no way. We're going to probably be in the 27-28 range. Pass TDs, 114. I kind of expect the passing TDs to still be relatively high, in my opinion. It's just going to be effective passes now. Hits taken, 382. You realize in 4 years, that is almost 100 every single season. That is not good, guys. For a guy like that, you cannot do that. And he's been injured multiple times.
Yeah, poor guy's been battered, dude.
This whole thing shows why Jim Harbaugh is here. He is here because he's here to protect his crown jewel. He is here to draft a Joe Alt. Make sure that O-line is going to be stout. I mean, it's insane what this O-line could be right now. It is. You look at like Bozeman, Pipkins, and in the way the O-line is set, or at least being told now, with Pipkins being the right guard and then Joe Alt being the right tackle. Dude, that side of that line is 6'5 plus.
Yeah, they're huge, dude.
They're
gigantic.
Mm-hmm. And then Zion's
Bozeman's big too.
Yeah, he's like 6'5 as a center, which is
it's crazy. They're
really
beasts.
big.
Yeah.
So
I think our offensive line, our offensive line needs to take the black. They need to take the oath from Game of Thrones. We are the watchers on the wall.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm in. Let's go. Yeah. Is that a plug for the Game of Thrones House of the Dragon starting this weekend or something like that?
Hey, I'm excited. That's
sponsor. Yeah.
Let's go.
House of the Dragon coming up.
So good. But bottom line, it's not a Justin Herbert problem at this point, guys. Like, it is not a Justin Herbert. He's going to do what he needs to do. And I guarantee with this O-line, and even Harbaugh even said, I feel like we have a top O-line in the league now. Like,
big time.
And the thing that I love about this too is that, like, with our coaches, we're all in unison. We're all in the same mindset. We're all basically together to basically build this team. And I think when Jim Harbaugh speaks, which some of the players even alluded to, people listen. And I think they respond well to it, just like what Andrew was saying too. Hey, I'll give you guys 30 minutes off of this practice or whatever. They're still sticking around. They want to put in work and they want to get better, and they want to be better for him. They don't want to feel it's like Brandon Staley. I felt like he wanted talent to lift him up versus like him coaching to be a guy that they want to play for, kind of thing.
Yeah, he didn't coach. No,
not at all.
You know, I mean, because so there's a real mentality behind all that. You know, about so it's not what you do when you're working that makes you great. It's what you do when you're not working that makes you great. And so, like, for players, like if you're obviously what you do on the field is good and stuff like that, but what you do on your off time, that's really is going to make the difference, because like you can't just, like with sports or anything like this, like in competitive nature, you can't just show up and do your job. You have to. Your job never doesn't stop until the season's over, essentially, or until your career's over at that point, like until that you're not going to play another game in your life, the job is not done. Kobe Bryant said that, actually, So,
well,
and that's and I think that's what Jim Harbaugh's trying to push out. And going back on a little thought like that too. So Joey Bosa talked about that at one of his interviews as well, talking about how Jim Harbaugh's kind of focused a lot of the minutia of the game itself, and is kind of really instilling all this different types of discipline on the players, and that stuff all matters. That all stacks up so much, because this, you think about this, is that, look, let's face it, let's kind of throw some salt on another wound here, like the Marlon McCree thing. That moment of breaking his mental focus or whatever like that, lost us the game in a lot of ways, so and that's why, like, all that little minutia matters so much. If they have so much discipline, that's going to be, and that's what Harbaugh wants to see. People just keep going.
Details.
And that's what every player basically talked about, and every coach talked about. Like, I was thinking about just last season. Think about how many times it was like those mental mistakes that happened. Like Derwin James, multiple, penalties that he got. Yeah, where he basically had like a kind of in a critical point of the game where he just made a mistake, where he tackled somebody high or whatnot, targeting, 15-yard penalty. Michael Davis, when he tried to make a tackle open field, I want to say it was against the Chiefs, where he could have basically ended a drive that was late in the game, and he just kind of went too low, and then the player just trucked him and then just kept running, got the first down, continued the drive. And there's just a lot of these little details that have not been emphasized well. It's the devil's in the details. And there's so much things about this team that always finds a way that the details get overlooked in creating a difference of a win and a loss. And I feel like that's one thing that essentially was the whole idea of what chargering was, because I feel like those little details could get rid of that chargering.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great point that Jim Harbaugh is really emphasizing right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then obviously you got Herbert here, dude. By the way, this is media day, right?
Yeah.
Looking ripped, dude. He looks like he's gained more weight too, bro.
Yeah.
I think he has. My prediction's 12-5, but or 11-6 is fine too. I think 10-7 is like the low end in my opinion. So, by the way, Vegas still has this 8.5 wins, so I think that's a pretty good bet, guys. So we, if you want to throw some money down,
that's a good bet. Yeah. I think it's good. I think we're gonna break the streak on that. We've been, I think 7 years in a row we've been on the under on that. That's what Vegas said. But I think we're gonna go. We're gonna get higher than that this year for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
So we did just sign this guy. Praise. I'm not sure how to say it. Olatuke, something like that.
I can't even read it. It's too dang small.
Yeah, it's pretty small right here. Here, let's get the little turn on the pin.
Zoom it in. Yeah. Praise Olatuke. Yeah. I took a shot at it. We're probably like 1 for 10 on taking a shot at these names, so.
Well, and I'll say this, he's just fast, right? So he's a work in progress. He's an international player. You don't expect an international player to play immediately. But bottom line, it's something that, hey, maybe they can work with them. My question is, though, what happens with CJ Okoye, right? Can you only have one international player on your practice squad? So I am curious about that.
Well, the hard part of it is that, the wide receiver room is very heavy for us right now.
Deep.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of a hard position to try to find a way to make on this team. Now, if you're going to find a way on this team as a wide receiver, it's probably going to be through the international, player program pretty much. And, he had, and I watched this whole video about him. I mean, once again, he's a big track star kind of guy. Like, he's got wheels, and you can't teach speed, basically. That's like a given talent pretty much. But you got to find a way to be able to teach him how to run routes and catch balls and see things correctly on the field and everything, and how to be able to get out of, press versus a man type situation, or press or man type situation on defense. So there's a lot of things that need to get figured out all around. But hey, good luck to him. I'm excited to be able to see him progress, and we'll probably see him a little bit in, preseason and everything too. I'll say a thing about praise too. Like, you got to think special teams with him too. I do think the one thing about special teams, I remember, I think it was actually the GM from the Cardinals talked about it. And he said, you know what, with the whole kickoff rule, I think a lot more teams are just going to kick the ball off into the end zone and just have the game start or the ball start at the 30-yard line, just take the 5-yard penalty.
Oh, yeah.
And is it 30? No, I think it starts at the 40 at that point. I guess I think it's like
30. I think it's the 30.
It's a massive
30.
Yep.
I don't
so
know.
It's only
man.
a 5-yard difference.
Really?
Yeah, it's only a 5-yard difference. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because again, you have to remember that whole thing it allows that team to just do so much more with it, right? Yep. So, yeah, I agree.
So I think it's like a lot of teams don't know what the heck they're going to be even doing with it. Like, I mean, it's just such an interesting thing,
So I guess I'm not sure what Aether's getting at on this question, but he wants you to answer it, James.
It sounds like he's asking if there is a rule
can they forfeit a game?
That we can forfeit. Yeah.
Yeah, you can, but I don't think a team ever has. I just Googled it, and it says they've never forfeited.
Yeah, I don't know why any team would want to forfeit a game.
Yeah.
I mean, that would
not sure what you're getting at on that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, but again, I think Derwin James, this is going to be good too with Jefferson, but this guy's a depth piece, right? I mean, so that's a really good thing to see. And but this guy right here, he's making some differences, man. I mean, I'm excited. Derwin, backfield, Tony. So the question is who's going to be our other safeties? I think AJ Finley's probably a lock, special teams guy.
Well, you got Team Dent if you're going to find him. I mean, JT Woods is just kind of getting lost in the shuffle a little bit too. And, I think Derwin even just brought it up in his interview too. And he was just kind of like, hey, look, like he's coming along. And the way that sounds, it's like he's like trying to still figure it out after, I think, going into his 3rd year, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it's going. But the big thing about Jesse Minter, and the next slide here is going to emphasize how important his job is.
Yep.
I mean, we have had in the last 3 years under the genius of Brandon Staley's defense, we've been at the 27th in the league at the best. Like, we got to find a way to basically make this defense better. Like, this is pretty much his career scoring defense rank 28th for Justin Herbert. Constantly getting scored on, which means we need to constantly score, essentially. Like, it's putting so much pressure on this dang team. If you look at Lamar Jackson and just say, okay, well, Lamar Jackson had one of the best in the leagues in his career. He's had a lot more success in the league because of that reason. We need to make sure we have a defense that just doesn't get scored on 27, 28 points a game, basically.
Yeah.
Now, once again, Patrick Mahomes last year, I think their defense did get scored on quite a bit. But at the same side, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs tend to like to have these 27 to 24 type games or 35 to 34 type games. They just find ways to basically find wins. But if you could get Justin Herbert just to a mid-tier type defense at this point. That will be a massive win for him. That will be an absolute game changer to this entire team and what his legacy is all about. So the job to me that will elevate this team is Jesse Minter is kind of the key piece to this whole entire year for us. He needs to basically be that defense to be able to help out Justin Herbert, close out games, not have those stupid little mistakes that we've talked about where it's like, Michael Davis not tackling correctly or, Derwin James making some bad tackles to basically get 15-yard penalty situations. How many times do we have 4th and 15s and then we do some stupid holding penalty to give them a first down? Stupid things like that. That's, to me, if we just stop that and just figure out how to tackle properly, we'll be a great defense. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Well, we were the number 1 ranked defense the last 3 games of the season when Brandon Staley was let go. So what clearly wasn't it wasn't a personnel problem. It was a defensive scheme problem is what we had last year. So, Carlos, good to see you. Roswell, New Mexico. Here's another question here from Aether here.
So many fans believe in my coach, but not believe they could win the West or beating the Chiefs. Let's concede the West and win one. I don't know what it is, but basically, anyways, I don't know what that said, but anyways, look, we all know what Jim Harbaugh can do. Like, we know that. I think the thing is, though, we don't know as fans, like, will it happen, basically. And that's the whole thing. There's questions in our head because how many times we come in hyped about certain things. 14-2 season. Marty Schottenheimer, we're going to roll everybody. We're going to beat the Patriots. Nope, we got beat by the Patriots. We beat ourselves. And we can't come in there stating and have our chest puffed up and say, yeah, for sure, we're going to win the West. We're going to the AFC Championship game. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. We can't say that. Like,
yes, we can. We can as fans, we can 100% believe in our team.
Yeah.
Yes.
1,000%. And can believe everything that we're going to be every year we should believe that we should win the championship, though.
We can believe, but
we can believe it.
Yes. But in the room here is it's just
being realistic.
Like we always have shortcomings here, and shortcomings basically ends up throwing off the year and everything. It's more of I need to see it to believe it, essentially.
Yeah.
We need to see it happen. And
and that goes into a lot of Chargers fans, really just holding on to so much trauma for something like that. I think there's I met a guy in Vegas when we were out there, and he said, he's been a fan for 60 plus years. He's 60 years old and all that stuff. And so he just has all this kind of he's been through it all, and that's kind of a big thing. He said he was just saying, it's like, hey, I have hope for this year because, he likes what he sees and stuff like that. But he knows our history. He knows our past. But every team, the Chiefs were horrible for years. The Patriots were horrible for years.
Right.
The Seahawks were horrible for years, but they still all made it happen. Even though it's the Saints, every team is horrible for years until they start winning.
Exactly.
End of story.
Yep.
And that's what I've always said to every single team that brings up, okay, let's talk about when the last time the Raiders were good and won a Super Bowl. Well, that was 40 years ago, guys.
That's forever ago.
And it took 50 years to get to the Chiefs to where they're at now. It's by law of averages, we're due, basically. We're very due and overdue at some point.
And the Raiders fan base is just a fan base of assholes, dude. It's like a community of assholes. Let's all unite and become a Raider fan. So that's kind of funny.
That's right.
But by the way, so the question, James is probably going to go to that for sure. So
and I don't know if you're chatting about Steve's group of him meeting up for games, or if you're talking about just like the Cardinals game. I mean, will we be going to some of the viewing parties with Steve? I've chatted with him a little bit about kind of making co-sponsoring it with the Bolt Bros. But we're trying to figure that all out still.
That's cool.
Either which way, yeah. I mean, we will be at the Cardinal. I will be for sure at the Cardinal game. I'm not sure about
I'll be at the Cardinals game for sure too. Yeah,
but we will be there for sure. So it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. I'm glad that the Chargers are going to be playing here in Arizona again.
Yeah.
Well, so interesting conversation, Samson. They talked quite a bit about this. I know Matt Money Smith talked about it. What they want to do is free up Derwin James. Well, you know what? You could put Derwin James right on Bowers right immediately. Welcome to the league, Rook. You got Derwin James all over you like white on rice, but then again, you get this guy, Tony Jefferson, playing up high. Derwin can play free.
Yeah.
That's the point. He knows where he needs to be. And then you have Alohi back there, right? So that's a good point, right? And it does bring a good point here. Our O-line hold against edge rushers
the Raiders, the one thing about the Raiders, though, and it was their head coach, he brought up something. I mean, I can't, for some reason, once again, my brain's a little bit on Mucinex. So
yeah.
The head coach over there at the Raiders, he was talking a lot about, he's like, hey, man, don't worry about our quarterback. Worry about your quarterback. Because what he was basically saying is their D-line is going to be their strength, essentially. Well, okay. Like, let's look at it this way. Well, if your quarterback sucks, but you go against, say, Bosa, Mack, Tooley, Bud Dupree, Morgan Fox, your quarterback's going to be sitting on his butt a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a stupid comment to say something like that. So if your offense can't work and your defense can't, get to your quarterback, which is, say, our O-line becomes a top 5 O-line, your team's going to get smoked. Like, your team will get smoked, guaranteed. So, but that's Raider fans in a nutshell, dude. They just love talking. They love talking, dude. And it's so frustrating. In week 1, guys, I'll say, emphasize again,
at a Raider game
to support the Chargers, dude. Week 1 against the Raiders. Let's fill up that stadium, boys. Let's
fill up that stadium. Like it's 100%. That's one thing that I realized too, is that like there's no way that we can shut up Raiders fans, even zero chance. It doesn't matter, because like they'll talk smack all they want all day long. Like I realized this, it clicked in my head the other day. I was like, wait a minute, they're talking smack about Cowboys fans all the time. Cowboys as a team have more championships than the Raiders do. They still talk smack to them. I'm sure they're still talking smack about the Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
Despite the fact that now the Chiefs have more championships than them, it's not going to stop. Just the Raiders fans are
$200. Aether's got that $200 for you, Kyle.
Yeah. Oh, he does. He got it. You got it on lock. You gonna send a MoneyGram to me something like that.
We're gonna talk more about the corners as well too here in a second too. So yeah, but just to say this, just to put a bow on it, right? Tony Jefferson's going to be good. Again, he's older; he doesn't need to be out there all the time.
Nope.
But 25% of the time he comes in for specific packages, maybe third and longs, edge, blitz packages, things like that, right? He comes out for very specific plays. So.
Yeah,
you see,
and the big part of it is add more veteran experience. A guy that's been in the system too. Like, he was under Jesse Minter, he was under Joe Ortiz. Like, adding a guy like Tony Jefferson is just a guy that you could just say, "Hey, is it plug and play?" Guys understand the system.
Understand
perfect,
and he knows where he needs to be. And again, he doesn't have to do a lot, right? It's like Bud Dupree. He doesn't. You're right. And that's the whole point about adding some veteran presence, right? It doesn't matter. Maybe you have all your rookies set and you think, okay, these are the guys. Put a veteran behind them. They're there to get paid and also help the rookies play well. If they get hurt, great. Veteran sets up and plays. You don't drop down horribly, right? Where the other team's just going to attack that one person, right? So that's the whole thing about depth, and that's where Brandon Staley and Ron Tabasco is pretty bad. But again, that whole signing allows Derwin James to play free. And Derwin James even said that. And that was even before Tony Jefferson was signed. Derwin came out and said, man, if we get him, I can play more free, which is great. So that's what we want. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that's the whole point. But again, Derwin is a special type of player. We all know that.
And once again, watch Kyle Hamilton with the Ravens. That's exactly how they're going to play, basically, Derwin James.
100%.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I will say this. There's been a lot of haters out there on QJ, and I'll say this. I think QJ has actually looked really good this preseason to some degree. He's definitely looks more ready, right?
Yep.
He went to camps and he got some, he worked on his hands, right? So we'll see what happens. And I'll tell you, this coaching staff's behind him. Now, again, preseason OTAs, they're not going to say, oh, man, he sucks. He's on the bubble. They're not going to say that, right? Yep. You're going to talk him up as much as you can. But, there's a lot to be said about QJ. I think he'll be fine, right?
Well,
but it's going to be big.
And the one thing that always made me crazy about Tom Telesco is that he always drafted people on like, all right, like I'll take a first round pick guy and I'll essentially tell him, hey, you don't need to be ready this year kind of thing. Be next year kind of thing. So what does that do? And I don't know if he communicated that with players, but I feel like he's done that with players. Like, hey, don't worry about now. Worry about like next year kind of thing. We don't need you now kind of thing. And I don't know if he said that to them or not, but like, I feel like that's what he did basically to Quentin Johnston last year. Yeah. You don't need to be ready. Just kind of be understanding of the system kind of thing.
100%.
And then he got thrown into the fire and be like, hey man, go figure it out now. Like, and that's a wrong attitude. Like one thing Jim Harbaugh is going to do is get every single player on every single level ready. They will be mentally ready and prepared like they're going to play. And I think even Quentin Johnston, and it was, I think last week that he ended up having an interview talking about that. And I felt like he even tried to say that like Tom Telesco was like, hey, look, we don't need you right now kind of thing. And, I wasn't told I need to play this season kind of thing. And I think I'm kind of putting this as a reset for him. I think he's going to be ready and prepared, and he's going to be much, much better all around. And I think mentally he'll be a lot better and ready to go. Because once again, if you go into a job and he says, you don't really need to do much for a year. Like you're probably not going to try a lot for a year kind of thing. So,
I mean, and he wasn't really expecting to have to step up in a huge way last year, because, he's a rookie and like he wasn't expecting to be a day one starter necessarily, like, and be on the field as much as he was. Yeah. And let's be honest, dude, like once you get into the big leagues, you're kind of like in a shell shock a little bit, you're like, oh my gosh, like now, and I don't think he really had much money in the NIL rights or anything. Like he wasn't like a big splashy name in college football. So so he's he had some growing pains, and that's totally understandable. You can't expect a year one like person for any job to be like freaking outstanding. And I think Harbaugh even said it before, like, first year rookies, like, they're not always gonna be like Jerry Rice, legendary status right out the door, so everyone just needs to give him some time, give him his like length of his contract or whatever, and we'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, but there was a good question on what wide receivers are on a bubble, man. I think the last two, Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson, definitely are probably on the bubble. This international player will probably just be on the practice squad, of course. I mean, he's a free spot. Yeah. But, I think those are probably the two guys that you're probably on the bubble right now, right? They bring somebody else in. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, my point is, we're gonna have plenty fine. We'll be fine wide receiver-wise. We'll be okay. I don't think it'll be an issue. Again, we're going to be throwing to the tight ends a lot too. Right. I don't think we're going to throw to our running backs as much as we have in the past, of course. But But anyways, I wanted to bring up QJ because he's getting a lot of heat. I think he'll be all right. He'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. Now, one last thought on this, brief thought. He was expected to be Mike Williams, and Mike Williams is Mike Williams, and this guy doesn't have the best route tree. That was a big part of the problem when he came out of college. His route tree was a little off, right? He was very good at slants. Give him the ball quick, let him run yards after catch. I think at least this offense, we're going to use him correctly with his skill set.
Exactly.
That's the difference, right? He was kind of asked to do things he wasn't really good at, right?
Yeah.
What did I say that one time? I'm not good at doing things I'm not good at.
Yeah. That's an Andrewism over there.
That's an Andrewism. That's an Andrew
idiom. Yeah.
Andrew idiom. And again, guys, that's the whole point, right? Again, he was asked to do so much more. And that's the whole point. It's just too much.
Greg Roman brought that up in the interview. Like, hey, what you do with him is literally just give him some slants, give him some short routes. I mean, utilize his yak ability. I mean,
Yep.
I can't remember that one YouTuber guy, but he emphasizes a lot of Chargers for some reason. But he broke down kind of Quentin Johnston and things that he did well late in the season. And they just showed that he has the ability to really catch the ball. When the ball's in his hands, he knows what to do with it. He knows how to be able to get those extra yards.
Yeah.
And that's why he was drafted so high, like because we needed that yak ability. And he has that ability. He has a short, quick feet that he could move past players and to be able to get those extra yards. So
yeah,
I think Greg Roman's going to find a way to unlock that with him.
Well, and he'll unlock all the players too. I mean, look, Hayden Hurst is going to have a good year. I think Will Dissly will have a good year. So, he'll be used correctly. So let's emphasize a couple of the rookies that are looking good. Tarheeb still actually intercepted Justin Herbert. And apparently he's looking good in OTAs. Again, OTAs, no pads, whatever. But he's looking good. He's looking good. And a lot of people think he could be the starting nickel, but we'll see.
Nice. That'd be great.
Yeah, and they even had a little bit of a shout out from Jesse Minter. He talked a little bit about Dean Leonard, which is not obviously a rookie, but they threw that out there saying that this cornerback room is looking a lot better. And Cam Hart was one of the other guys that Derwin James even brought up too. So
there you go. Yeah, I brought up Cam Hart. Yeah, there we go.
What a segue right there. Let's go.
Perfect.
But with Tarheeb still, it sounds like it's kind of being a situation with Jasir Taylor and him. So it's going to be an interesting battle on the camp for that one too. But Cam Hart, man, great size. The way that I always viewed him is kind of a Quentin Jammer kind of guy, in my opinion. It's going to be great to see these guys. I think this is going to be an exciting training camp and actually preseason too, to be able to really see how the system works, see how some of these players work out for us, and probably even see our starters play for once too. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Well, and I remember, and this is a good point. I was thinking the same thing because Tarheeb, a lot of people had him not even being drafted, which was really interesting. So it was a bit of a stretch, but that dude, I think he lead college in interception. He had like 7 last year.
He had a huge amount of picks.
Yeah. So his ability to sort of see things is good. Now Cam Hart's a bit of a work in progress. He's just kind of a big guy, right? So I think both those guys will probably end up in the not practice squad, special teams. Cam Hart for sure.
Yep.
But they could rotate him in on maybe like running plays or a little more physical type of formations, right? Goal line stances, so on and so forth, right? Just a big dude, right? So
the one thing about Tarheeb though that really, really helps out why we ended up picking him is probably because of Navarro Bowman, because he came from Maryland.
Yeah, that's true. He did.
So he probably had really good eyes with him. And I feel like a lot of these guys, like even with Cam Hart, same thing with our safeties coach. He came from Notre Dame. Like a lot of these picks were like, hey, coach, tell me about a player on your team that you feel we should target kind of thing. And that might fit in for what we're looking for kind of thing. So they've done a very good job of having all the coaches very united and trying to pick players all around. Now with Kamani Vidal, I don't really know the connection came from that one, but he's going to be a guy that was playing quite a bit in, training camp, or at least I should say OTAs at this point. So I think
because Gus Edwards and also J.K. Dobbins were kind of out.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So they weren't playing a lot. Gus Edwards is out, and J.K. Dobbins isn't taking very many snaps. I think they have injury concerns. The other person is Elijah Dotson's looking pretty good too. I was going to put him up there, but I just wanted to talk about the rookie specifically. So, so we'll see. I mean, and dude, and like, I don't know what's going on with JT Woods, dude. Like, I've heard nothing good about him so far. Like, the guy has just, maybe he's just happy he got his rookie contract and he's just going to retire. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I hope he does kind of figure it out and puts a stamp out there and solidifies his position for once. I mean, JT is a high draft pick once again that we hope that he goes to work out. But man, Mr. Andrew Ladd McConkey, this guy's going to be a dog.
Go.
He's going to
still not signed, by the way. Still not signed.
No, is he not?
Not officially signed yet. Yeah.
Not officially
I wonder if it's a similar situation like the first rounders, like that. It has to go through all those people like ahead of him before he can sign. Because Joe Alt signed after the other 4 players signed.
Yep.
And like, so I don't know what's going on here with this.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just some sort of wording in the contract. Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, I think that he should be getting signed here shortly. And I can imagine it's not going to last that much longer. It's probably will not go into training camp, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it'll I know we got to sign him. So again, but he's looking good, and we don't really need to say much about Joe Alt. Everyone seems happy with Joe Alt, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're concerned. But dude, it's going to be really interesting. That offensive line is going to be crazy, man. And again, guys, if you start having injuries like you got Dotson, you got Vidal, we got Spiller, we got 5 good horses and people were talking about Dotson. Apparently he looks even buffer than he has in the past. And Vidal is just a bowling ball, so
we got nothing but dogs.
Dogs. So he'll get signed before camp. You're right. He will. It'll be done. And, but again, guys, that's just kind of, whoa, there we go. Is that a lion? I like that.
Well, that was a howl, but it was more like a dinosaur kind of thing. No, I'm like, dang. I was like, dang, that's the wrong. I pressed the wrong one there, guys. Sorry about that.
I heard somebody saying that Laddie was black. He would have gone in the top 15. Okay, well, it could be. But I'll tell you what, man. Like that guy arguably has some of the best route running out there. I mean, he's the next Keenan Allen. And he's been playing in the slot. I did forget to say that. He has been playing in the slot more than he has been on the X. So I think the slot makes more sense for him because that's where he just kind of finds the open spots, So anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ladd to me, like, I kind of think, and maybe I'm dropping little secrets here about fantasy. I mean, he could be one of those guys could easily get 100 catches this year, in my opinion. Like, I think he could be one of those dudes. He could be kind of that Puka Nacua kind of guy, in my opinion, this year. Great quarterback, wide receiver combo guy that has a great route running ability. He could be that kind of Puka Nacua guy this year. And out of the rookie wide receivers, I think he's got a great chance to be that guy this year.
So basically, they're saying that when Reed retires, Patrick Mahomes won't go anywhere. We'll see.
That's 5 more years down the road.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while, so we'll see. I just want to see a rivalry with Mahomes and Herbert. That's
love it.
Because like the Raiders aren't going to be that good. The Broncos are in disarray. I just don't see that team being good at all. I mean, not even kind of good. So.
But what's wild to me, and I was thinking about the Broncos season last year. Remember when they went on a run and they got to 7-7? I think they started the season 0-3 or 0-2 or whatever it was.
Shocked me. Yep.
And I mean, it's like that's with a team that was trying to get figured out still. And now they have. I mean, I heard some crazy rumors that like Zach Wilson was kind of leading into as QB1 going into that team.
I see that,
which is wild to see that as Bo Nix not being the starter kind of thing. Now I've talked to my Bronco buddy and he was like, no way, man, it's going to be Bo Nix. And I'm like, I don't know, man, maybe veteran presence is really what they want. And so I don't know. And then their running back situation is kind of a joke over there too. And I don't know, but I'm emphasizing that the Broncos did have a good run last year with less of a team. And so, but now they have even more less of a team. Now coaching needs to get involved. So
for sure. A lot to be said about all that. Well, guys, we are going to continue bringing content out to you. Of course, we like to do content as soon as it pops out. Anything interesting news. Yeah. There's going to be more signings, guys. I mean, let's face it. The Chargers are. I don't want to bring in the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are a good team in the sense that if they feel like they could go get another guy, if you're looking at who's my 53rd ranked player on my team, okay, that guy better than my 53rd ranked player on my team? If the answer is yes, they're going to go get him, right? They want to keep getting better and better and better and better and better players. And it is going to happen all season, all off season, and they're just going to continually just make this team better. And they don't care. They want to make the team as deep and wide as possible. Staley and Tabasco never really did that. Their view was like, whatever, we got our guys, we're just going to move forward. So that's a good point.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that's a pretty good question there, Goomba, by the way. Speaking of JP Wood, would you rather – where'd the question go? Oh, would you rather go Barbecue on wood, charcoal, or pellet grill. Well, I do have a pellet grill, so I prefer pellet for sure. So I'm in.
Yep.
I'll go with the pellet grill.
Yeah, pellet's the way to go, dude.
I'll just say straight up, anything
charcoal
but gas.
Ain't bad though. Charcoal ain't bad though.
Yeah.
Charcoal ain't bad. Charcoal ain't bad.
If you just want to get in and get out, gas grill for sure. But but I
Traeger, baby.
I'm not a fan of the gas one. Yeah.
Traeger, baby.
Yeah.
Traeger, baby, all day.
Traeger's. That's right. But if you're a pro, I think you really want that offset situation. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, here we go. Question. Here we go. OTA's finished the Chargers who stood out to you the most? Stock up, stock down. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's a good question, Grandizer. Yeah. To me, I would say the rookie would be Ladd McConkey for sure. Now, but I would also say just because the wide receiver room is a bit open, I think Joe Alt is a lock. You can't really evaluate the offensive lineman until the pads come on, in my opinion. So I think that's where that's a different conversation. But I would say him, and the two that went down would definitely be our last two, Brendan Rice and Cornelius Johnson. They haven't really stood out at all. So I think they're in danger of maybe not making the team or just ending up on practice squad, which would suck. So
I think if I'm going to add a stock down player, Justin Aboigbe. I haven't really heard anything from him at all.
He's working through some sort of injury as well too.
Okay,
apparently.
so and I'm assuming that's what it is. Because I haven't heard anything about him at all, and then you start hearing a lot more about Scott Matlock, which I think he's a very good player, and I think he's going to fit well in the system because he's a lot more violent of a player.
Yep.
And physical. But Justin Aboigbe, I haven't heard anything from him, so I'm hoping to be able to see some growth from him going into camp for sure.
Yeah, which is weird because even they said that he was kind of a project. I'm like, well, why did they go for him then? Like, I just felt like that was a little weird. He seemed to be the kind of the odd pick in my opinion, right? Don't get me wrong, like he was productive when he was out there, but he had a major neck injury, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But have a good weekend, guys. Bolt lightning for sure. Maybe we can wrap up our thoughts here.
Whatever you guys are doing, just go and be safe. Make sure, have a good weekend. It's Father's Day tomorrow, so
happy Father's Day, you guys out there.
Happy Father's Day, if you are one, or if you are soon to be one, or you want to be one. How about that?
That's right. And he's quick, man. I'll tell you, he's quick.
Yeah. It's like Eggnog is kind of emphasizing, I think, that video, dude, where is that dude running around.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I love that video. It's so good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely say hello to all your fathers as well too, right? It's important. So the hats merch, it should be down below in the description. So take a gander at it.
So by the way, check it out. By the way, we are working too, right? Yeah. I got a flag back here.
Yep.
Right. I can't put it right there. There's another one. I can do this real quick. Let's check it out. Got this one over here as well. Like,
I want that one.
It's in our short stores. So but we got some other things cooking in the background here too. So we got these new shades that we're trying out, and we're gonna make a bunch. These are not gonna be black rimmed, whatever. Like they're gonna be blue and yellow, and it's gonna say Bolt Bros Chargers Podcast across the top. And it's pretty sweet because it's got this the bolt frames right there. So we're gonna order a bunch of. We're going to order a bunch of these and, allow people to either buy them or earn them. So you did the wrong thing there, James. It's not Bolt Bros AI. What is that?
Oh, sorry about that.
But and just in case you guys in the chat, want to, if you have a chance to win one of any of our merchandise things. If you join me on Wednesday nights when I'm doing our Madden simulation, you can actually put your prediction for the game, and we'll have a good time just chatting it up about midweek announcements and stuff. And you can have a chance to win a fresh hat like this, or a shirt like this.
We got the same hat on, dude. Yeah.
What? Yeah. Oh, we twinning, bro. We twinning, bro.
We twinning.
That's right.
No, but yeah. Oh, geez. Can't do it. Oh, I'm going to celebrate Father's Day with Kay Adams. Ooh. Ooh-wee. We're just gonna practice making the baby the whole time. All right. Oh, that's the link right there, guys. And
yeah.
You know, there's a lot to be said, guys. I mean, and again, we're going to bring as much content as we possibly can. The one thing about the Boat Bros, I don't think we want to just do a video just to do a video. I think we tend to do, when we feel there's relevant news, we like to throw it out there, right? You know, a signing, let's talk about a player, maybe something, you know, relevant, right? So, and we like to do our lives every week, right? So, but again, I think, guys, this team's coming together. They seem cohesive. By the way, I will say this. A lot of people have commented how Herbert seems happy, right? So I think maybe they're finally listening to him. Maybe he's finally, but he's also got Shane Day back. Interesting rumor. I heard that Brandon Staley fired Shane Day. So it was some sort of like friction with him. Maybe, I don't know, it was like a relationship thing. He got jealous or something and he fired him. So apparently that's what happened. So it was interesting because he did ask, well, what's one thing I want? He said in his interview, I want Shane Day back. And they went out and got him. So there's something to be said about that. People want to be surrounded by people that motivate them. And so Herbert seems happy. That's exciting. And I think if he could finally get a team around him, sky's the limit, dude. It ain't a Herbert problem. It's a team problem. And we finally have adults in the room running the offense and defense. So thank God. Let's see what he can really do. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. He read that he fired him. Yeah, and that's what happened. He fired him. I'm like, what a dickhead, dude. Like, seriously, come on.
Right.
It's just stupid.
It's funny because he goes over and coaches CJ Stroud, and then basically CJ Stroud gets, offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Like,
killed it.
Yeah.
What are we doing, dude? Like, I mean, the more you read about Staley, the more you're like, holy smokes, man. That guy was
I mean, Staley was always a guy who pointed the fingers with three pointing back at him like that.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, my last thoughts too is, I'm emphasizing that this defense needs to be the reason to help Justin Herbert. Like, so many times I was thinking just in last year of how many times they have mental mistakes when you could have made that stop to like end the game or end a drive. Or, just doing dumb things at the wrong time, holding call on a 3rd and 19 that you don't even need to do that. Like,
it's like, what's going on?
Dude, so many of these stupid things are learning how to tackle properly. Like, it's just stupid things like that are so annoying. And that's where I feel this is going to hit very, very much on Jesse Minter to make his defense work. And that's going to be a big, big emphasis this year. And we just need a mid-tier defense. Just give them a mid-tier defense. And I swear that offense will be able to do what it needs to do. I swear we'll win a lot more games. We could just be at a top 15, maybe even a top 20. Like, that would be fine at that level. Maybe I'm just not trying to ask for the highest, but just give me that mid-range if possible. And we'll be great. So just really, the big thing is this defense, which I do feel and I have trust that this defense is going to be one of the tops in sacks this year.
Oh, I think so.
Because we have such a great, great chance with our edge players and our D-line. It's just going to be phenomenal. So defense. I think that, Chiefs did it with a mid-tier defense last year and won a Super Bowl. So just give you guys that little tidbit. So once again, defense is going to be the big thing this year. Kyle.
Your final thoughts.
I only have one question, my bros.
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
Hold up, baby.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But I'm excited for the season, guys. It's gonna be good. I'm glad that they're no longer gonna be in the Costa Mesa facility because after having my little experience there, whatever, I realized like, dude, these are some big boys.
Yeah.
In this tiny facility, they are just like that area was very crowded. It was very tight. It was like, man, this is not a good place for all these like 300-pound, 6'5" dudes just to be congregating there all the time. It's just way too small of a facility. And it's going to be huge and great that they're going to now have their own place. They're going to be able to spread their legs a little bit more and really train properly. So I'm expecting huge things because our training program is going to be through the roof. I'm excited. It's Jim Harbaugh is doing all the right things. He's He's basically we'll call him the Papa or the Father's Day celebration for the Chargers right now, because he's gonna be, he should have we'll make a shirt, Daddy Harbaugh or something like that,
Harbaugh.
I like that.
Yeah, Harbaugh is my daddy or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and we're planning on going to the Falcons games. We know the out of your Falcon minds, guys. So we're going to go to that game.
Yeah,
I got a lot of colleagues that are down there too. So I was thinking, it'd be a lot of fun. So we got some people heading down. So
exactly.
Well, guys, we're the Bolt Bros.
Very exciting.
It's exciting, guys. Exciting time. But again, it's going to be quiet for a little while. We're going to put as much content as we can out there. Again, we want to make it relevant content, but we will see you there, my friend. But as always, guys, we're the Bolt Bros. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Let's
adios.
go.
Let's go.